Hey, ¿qué tal, amigos? Les habla Bandido y no olviden escuchar este podcast por Tiger Driver Radio.
And welcome to Tiger Driver Radio for all things New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, Ring of Honor, and the best of the indies. This is your main man, JP, alongside...
Juicy J.
What's up, man?
What up? You ready for this weekend, man?
Absolutely, man. I am so excited about opening day of the G1 Climax. And what's crazy to me is that I would never have thought starting day one of the legendary G1 in America, in Dallas, no less.
In Texas,
is baffling to me because I would have never have thought, watching New Japan throughout the years and knowing about the G1 that it would ever, that's such a long, prestigious tournament in professional wrestling. It's a grueling tournament, and we get treated with opening day in America. I'm so excited about the brackets this year, but on top of the G1 happening this weekend, I'm still just reeling and so happy about what we just saw this past weekend with AEW's Fyter Fest. What a great time to be a wrestling fan.
I don't even know where to start.
I mean, yeah, dude, we got so much to talk about this week. Everything from, our predictions to the G1, Fyter Fest, also a small preview of Fight for the Fallen. We're also going to talk about a bunch of miscellaneous news, including a new promotion out of Mexico City, started by Alberto Del Rio, Alberto El Patron. Apparently he's causing a ruckus down in Mexico. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, of course, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment is looking to expand in the United Kingdom. Battle of Los Angeles has already announced their first performer, for PWG. And of course, we'll talk a little bit more about other happenings in Mexico, including an awesome match that has been set up for Triple Mania featuring a former MMA legend. So, man, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, man. So let me ask you, man. What did you ultimately think about Fyter Fest this weekend? Like I said, in my opinion, it was some glitches, but overall, it was such a fun show to watch.
The beginning of the show was average to me. The very beginning,
like the buy-in,
right? Yeah. It was average, but even though it was just average, it was still better than other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna say it again, still better than what the WWE does on their best day these days,
right?
And the thing is, I will say that that tag match between Best Friends, SCU, and Private Party was fun as hell to watch.
Yeah.
It was just spot fest, awesome tag team wrestling. Of course, Best Friends, apparently that win allows them to have a bye in the tournament for the tag team championships in the future. So it's really cool that although, the TV, they haven't started airing weekly episodes yet, they're already looking at the stories and they're already basically everything counts now. It's everything has a meaning in terms of wrestling, in terms of wrestling and storylines and how they want to kind of present this as a more of a sports oriented product. You could start to see hints of it. I mean, yeah, it's still pro wrestling. It's still goofy. It's still funny, crazy. But I like the fact that when the commentary team was talking about it, that they definitely emphasize hey, whoever wins this is what this means. Or they kind of go back to people that they have faced in the past, even making reference to matches that they had in, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla or over in Japan. They're not afraid or they don't shy away from mentioning the history of performers and their history, and also treating it okay, they lost last time, so they really got to win this time. It gives you the feel as if it matters. Also, I feel like JR was a little bit better this time.
He's a slippery devil.
Yeah, he was.
He seemed like he was a little more on point, had a little bit more, he was a lot more put together. I mean, like I said, I think he just had to shake off some of that rust. So it was really nice with JR on there. And I really think Excalibur really does a good job at piecing it together, because he's kind of that interlink of the past and the future and what's going on right now. So I mean, I think the commentary team it's going to take some time, but I think it's starting to gel.
Yeah.
And I really think Excalibur is such a great asset to that commentary team.
Such a knowledgeable guy.
The guy knows so much as well.
He knows a lot of lucha.
Absolutely. The guy definitely knows his stuff. And the thing that I loved about Fyter Fest is that it didn't take itself seriously either. And a lot, even though they're taking the product seriously, they want to put out a good product, they weren't afraid to laugh. For example, the Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabali match it was a hardcore match. Granted, it was comedic. It wasn't a very good match at all, but it was just like, for fans who are fans of fighting games, people know who Alex Jabali is in the CEO community. And then for him to face against comedic wrestler Michael Nakazawa, like I said, it was more fan service for people there. I think it served for the audience there who know a lot more about who Alex Jabali is in that community than it did for wrestling fans at home, if that makes sense.
Still entertaining.
It was still funny,
Some Legos.
Exactly. Which, oh God, thumbtacks or Legos? I personally would rather take the thumbtacks than the Legos. That's just my opinion.
Man, Legos can be painful though. I know when
Legos suck.
When my son leaves them in the living room, I step on them. That hurts like really bad.
Oh, it's the absolute worst, man. And then the thing is that I really liked that women were showcased heavily. Mm-hmm. You had Ali, beat the librarian Leva Bates, and a really funny storyline, that involved, Peter Avalon interfered and cost, Leva Bates the match. I don't know. I like this librarian thing is hokey, but it's funny. And like I said, it doesn't take itself, too seriously at all, which I absolutely love that kind of thing.
I don't like it as much.
No, I don't know. It's hokey. It is hokey, but I think there could be some sort of build up, and maybe you'll see, the introduction of intergender wrestling. Like I said, I kind of see like maybe down the road it'll kind of introduce a reason for an intergender match to be featured, and maybe they'll kill it then.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll start off hokey, and this is me just kind of projecting high hopes, and we'll see. But I mean, also another thing that I thought was really cool is that you finally got to see CIMA in action one-on-one against a guy that he's super familiar with, against Christopher Daniels. Of course, they have history, back in the day for wrestling, in Michinoku Pro, and of course wrestling throughout Japan, especially when Christopher Daniels was wrestling as Curry Man back in the day. It just shows you that even though CIMA is a lot older now, CIMA can still go, and I thought it was a great match.
Christopher Daniels seemed a little slow though.
He seemed a little slow, yes, but I think this it still did a very good job of showcasing CIMA.
Yeah.
And why, for anybody who's like a wrestling enthusiast always touts that CIMA is responsible for influencing a lot of current generations, which he absolutely is. All in all, like the buy-in was like a nice little taste. It was a bit average in terms of wrestling action, but it got me interested. Like I said, the one thing I really loved is how they showcased the women on this event was, of course, Riho against Yuka Sakazaki and Nyla Rose. And man, Nyla Rose, I really do feel like if they keep building her properly, she'll definitely be like a menace. She kind of, like I said, she absolutely reminds me of what Awesome Kong was to Impact and to TNA back in the mid 2000s. Like she is that size, she is big, she can move, especially that. Well, I thought it was insane that like top rope knee drop that she hit on Riho towards the end of the match. Like I did not expect that from a big girl like that. Like wow,
break her in half.
What an impact!
Yeah, I was like, dude, that girl's gonna, and she hit it. She didn't miss it. She absolutely hit it. And the thing is that like there were some awkward moments in that match, but the thing that really, really captivated me was just how you could see the contrast in styles. And me, I'm the kind of person that like, styles make matches. So you see, like the Joshi Poru style kind of showcased against someone who's just a powerhouse like Nyla Rose, who is familiar with that style as well. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was like all in all like an entertaining match.
Yeah, those Yoshi women weren't scared of taking all those crazy bumps from them.
Absolutely not. Like I said, if you ever watch any documentary, especially like I said, at some point you have to sit there and watch that documentary called Gaia, and it's about like the women that were trained in the late 90s and early 2000s in Gaia's now defunct Joshi promotion, Gaia Japan. And granted, they were abused and it was wrong, but the thing is, the one thing that is consistent throughout, and when it comes to Japanese wrestling and especially Joshi wrestling, is that those women, they train their asses off. Like they are no slouches. Like they might lack size, they might even lack some power in a sense, but Joshi women are some of the best, some of the most amazing wrestlers out there, and have such a strong foundation. That's in Japanese wrestling in general. Anyhow, another thing that was really awesome to see was that you got 4 guys put in a 4-way that, in my opinion, will be the the backbone of this company. You got Hangman Page, MJF, Jimmy Havoc, and Jungle Boy. All 4 people were showcased really well, I thought. And the thing that I keep saying this, MJF, my God, what a bastard. What a fucking bastard. And he's so good at he reminds me of what old school heels used to be like. Can talk, can wrestle, arrogant. And the thing is that like he's so good on the fly.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
And in some cases maintaining that sense of kayfabe, because even in the post-match press conferences that they had on YouTube, off of Chris Van Fleet's YouTube channel, he was going off on the press, and he was maintaining character. I mean, he did answer questions honestly, but he still found that line of maintaining kayfabe, whatever you want to call it these days, and then also at the same time being honest when answering questions. So it was really brilliant. But this match, like I said, did such a great job at in fact showcasing everybody's highlights. Like I said, I think one of the cornerstones of this promotion in terms of rivalries is going to be Hangman Adam Page versus MJF. Because I think they have chemistry together. Jimmy Havoc was also did a good job of kind of being like the wild card in that match. It would have been cool to see him kind of throw in more violence and hardcore type elements into the match, but I felt like maybe it would have taken away from the match later on in the night. So it worked out fine, and there'll be other opportunities for Havoc to kind of showcase what he's made of.
Yeah, because I agree with you there, because it seemed like he didn't find his little mojo with these guys. It was a little different. His style was maybe too different, because I couldn't see where he was kind of meshing with all these guys.
Like I said, he took a lot of spots more than anything. He can sell his ass off, and then Jungle Boy, of course, was able to kind of, you could tell that the crowd really gets behind Jungle Boy. I think Jimmy Havoc, given time, will grow with the audiences. He has a lot of reputation on being a violent wrestler and a hardcore wrestler. I think given the right element, you'll see Jimmy Havoc grow as not even grow as a performer, but grow to where audiences will look at him outside of just being an ultra violent wrestler. I think maybe this match served the purpose of highlighting MJF and Hangman Adam Page. Even though it was a 4-way, I think this match still drew the storyline of MJF still says, I've never been pinned. Hangman is still on a strong upward momentum going out to All Out, where he's going to compete for that world title against Chris Jericho. So of course he had to win. So I think it was just a matter of still showcasing them, while of course throwing in Jungle Boy and of course Havoc in there. But I mean, Havoc held his own. Like I said, you could definitely tell who the standouts were in this match. And then also, like I said, I think Jungle Boy, I love the chemistry between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. It just works. And the thing is, they said like it was something that just kind of happened. It wasn't even planned that way. It's just it made all the sense in the world. It's just like, well, why not? Why don't we do this? And it just it's hilarious, And then another thing too, like with Cody and Darby Allin, I think they did such a great job at putting over Darby Allin in the sense that Darby Allin never stood down, even though he's a lot smaller than Cody. And that's the thing, Cody, he's not small either, but compared to other wrestlers, he might appear average. But to Darby Allin was so much smaller than he was. But Darby Allin he was just really crafty and really just like he was like scratching and clawing and doing everything he could to throw Cody off his game, and did such a great job, even though Cody used his size, used his power. The thing is that like Darby Allin was so unconventional and unpredictable and fast that it kind of threw Cody off of his game, and Cody could not make him tap. He could not pin him down for the 1, 2, 3. And the thing is, I love that Darby Allin, they showed how crafty that Darby Allin could get, like especially when he went for that Michinoku armbar after Cody hurt his hand on the pole earlier in the match. He was headbutting his hand, targeting the hand. Like, it just showed you how like Darby Allin, what he lacks in size, he makes up for in just tenacity, and also just being completely unique in his offense, And not to mention, man, that coffin drop that he tried to hit on Cody on the apron. Oh yeah, I really thought he broke his fucking back, because he landed right on like the very edge of the apron, not even on the proper apron itself, where I've seen him do that before. Like, he hit it right there, and I'm just like,
the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah, the hardest part of the ring. It's, man, it really, I got a little worried.
It was scary.
It was very, very scary. And
Sean Spears, another thing that's scary. Sean Spears,
absolutely. At the end, and the thing is, like, they put on a great match. Of course, it ran into a draw. You know, Cody kept begging for 5 more minutes. It didn't happen. And while he was trying to talk to the ref, saying, "No, man, let's give me a couple more minutes. I can beat him." Sean Spears comes in, hits Cody with a chair shot. I guess cut Cody open hard way, and Cody was bleeding. Luckily, reports say that he did not get a concussion. He did require 10 stitches, 10 staples to the back of his head. It was just really weird how that chair shot wrapped around his head a little bit and cut him in the back of his head. I think overall, the match itself did a good job at like putting Darby Allin over without making him lose.
Yeah.
Because people were like, "Wow, this Darby Allin guy is like something else," you know. And then of course, it also further pushes the storyline of, I guess, Sean Spears now being a force to reckon with in AEW. And it's nice to see this new side to Sean Spears, because like I said, for the longest time, he had the Perfect 10 gimmick. It was a feel-good gimmick, but it never really got the traction it deserved in NXT and even on the main roster back in WWE. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to go with a heel Sean Spears going forward.
Yeah,
you know,
need more heels.
Absolutely. And then with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid, what else can I say but Spot Fest? I really love the fact though that both the Young Bucks came out as Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter. But what was the deal with that fan? Was that a fan, or was that intentional? That random guy running up the ramp?
Oh yeah, I did see that, and supposedly it was a nod to WWE, where there was a fan that did the same thing with Batista. That's why this fan went up to the Bucks and was doing the
machine gun pose.
I think because that happened too in WWE. Some random fan just went up in front of Batista and did the same thing with him.
I do remember that,
and then that's why they did this.
It's just kind of to make fun of him.
Yeah.
Okay, because for a second I was like, wait, did that supposed to happen?
Yeah.
And then they black out. They do the kind of like Akuma from Street Fighter Alpha intro for Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega shows up, and then the fan's on the ground like he got knocked out, which was brilliant, which was funny, but it seemed a little off at first. I was like, well, what's this?
What's this guy doing here?
It's a little bit of an obscure reference, but it's unfortunate that apparently Kenny Omega's gear did not arrive in time, which is why he had to paint his back, with the symbol, instead of actually coming out with a gi like Matt and Nick.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, nonetheless, it was really cool that they were kind of pandering to the crowd since it was a video game, fighting convention. Nerds. But like the thing is, one thing I've always loved about watching these guys against the Lucha Brothers, and I know last time they faced against the Lucha Brothers in a 6-man tag, the Lucha Brothers teamed with Flamita in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and then of course the Lucha Brothers have wrestled the Young Bucks. Omega has wrestled against both Rey Fenix and Penta, but this, and then of course you can't even forget even last year's All In. It was the Bucks and Kota Ibushi against Rey Mysterio and the Lucha Brothers. Oh no, excuse me, and Rey Fenix and Bandito. Yeah. But the thing is, the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks just have amazing chemistry amongst themselves, and then you add the wild card element of the Laredo Kid, who killed it.
He's good.
And he was amazing. And then Kenny Omega, who is of course a standout on his own. This was just spot fest after spot fest. And even when Matt Jackson tried to, hit his when Nick Jackson tried to hit, he tried to float onto, he tried to grab Rey Fenix's arm and then tried to go onto the top rope and slipped. Like these guys are so good at what they do. They found a way to basically play it off, so that way Laredo Kid could grab on to Nick Jackson and then hit the Spanish Fly onto the outside. Yeah. So they kind of found a way to make a botch look like it was planned, and it just comes to show you whether if it was a botch or not. They definitely covered themselves up. And the thing is, these guys are just so amazing at what they do. Granted, of course, Omega did hit Laredo Kid with a V-trigger, and then of course the One-Winged Angel for the 1-2-3, and it was just a fun match. Like I said, anytime you see those guys on a billboard, you're definitely going to get that. And the thing that I love next about the non-sanctioned match between Jon Moxley and the bad boy Joey Janela is that it was called an unsanctioned match because of the fact of how violent it was going to be. And what I loved is that they at the end of the 6-man tag, they said, this is officially the end of the event.
Yeah.
However, we're going to turn off the lights to signify that this event is now over, and the following match will not be sanctioned. There are no rules. There are no countouts. There is no time limit. There's only a referee to count. And then they turn the lights back on, and you notice that the lights were back on kind of normal, like the house lights. And then, of course, they had the match between, Janela comes in first with Jon Moxley. Moxley, and good God, man, barbaric.
Yeah, good thing they told everyone that it was gonna be unsanctioned. Because man, you need to hide your kids, hide your wife.
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife.
Because it's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And then and the thing that was fucking nuts about this match was just, I would have thought, okay, seeing as how Jon Moxley is a household name, with his Dean Ambrose persona, he did so much to put Janela over in this match. Like I would have thought, okay, Janela's probably going to be the guy to take all the worst bumps. No, like they both took nasty bumps and whatever else. Like especially that Death Valley driver on Jon Moxley through the barbed wire board the first time. I was just like, good God, like because his lower back landed on the majority of those barbs. You could see all the crazy scratches and cuts on his lower back, and then the fact that Janela hit that like crazy insane elbow drop, and then to cap it all off, that fucking thumbtack spot where Moxley took off his boots. Fucking Christ,
it's crazy.
Ow! I hope you have your tetanus shots, which I'm sure everything's good to go and whatever else, but fucking hell. And my only gripe about this match,
no light tubes.
No light tubes. Okay, 2. I wish it was more light tubes, but that's just the bloodthirsty guy in me. Is that I wish there was more of a solid build to this match. Now, granted, there was some promo. I mean, the promo that Janela did with the coffin was awesome, and of course, Jon Moxley talking shit was great on his social media. But how different would it have been? Let's say if this was weekly television and they were just coming out every week and like interfering in each other's matches or trying to like outdo each other, and then building up a more personal rivalry to get that violent. This is what goes back to what I said before, is that sometimes I'm not a fan of violence for the sake of violence, and this match felt that way a little bit. It was just violent just to be violent, because everybody knows that both Moxley and Janela have their reputations as being deathmatch guys, at least Jon Moxley used to be, and Janela is kind of gone back and forth, but that's my only real gripe, is that I wish there would have been more of a storyline build to where it could be a little bit more personal. I mean, there was a little bit for what they could do, which makes me really interested in how they're going to kind of balance the hardcore fan and weekly television, because obviously Tony Khan stated post match that there will not be violence like that weekly. I'm pretty sure on pay-per-view you're going to see some crazy stuff though, because pay-per-view is pay-per-view at the end of the day, but on
maybe another reason they called it unsanctioned match, because then that way they don't have to worry about any story build-up or wearing it. They can't say, oh, it's going to damage their name or anything if they're not going to go that way with matches, because it's unsanctioned, so it's something just random.
Separate. Perhaps. But like I said, I've always liked the sake of violence when there's a storyline behind it. But nonetheless, as the match itself was just entertaining and violent as hell. I also saw on Twitter after the match that they were both hanging out outside of the venue drinking beers, and they both looked super beat the fuck up. Like, Moxley was still holding his neck, and then of course Janela looked beat up as all shit. So I mean, it was really cool to kind of see like kind of 2 generations of ultra violent wrestling kind of come together, especially for those hardcore fans that remember Jon Moxley, pre WWE, and everybody who is still enamored with Joey Janela and his violent and really his violent history currently, and it was awesome. And the thing that I loved about it is that even though Janela lost, Janela got put over, Moxley was getting ready to walk out, Omega comes out, delivers like a brutal V-trigger to knock Moxley out, and then they just send up brawling or whatever else, and he just ends up kicking Jon Moxley's ass all over the stage, and then bam, and it kind of sets up everything for All Out, which I know Fight for the Fallen is in 2 weeks, and of course Omega does have a match against Shima. Leads me to believe maybe Ambrose will play a part in that, or maybe not, because I know Ambrose has to look forward to the G1.
Right. You still have to have Jericho in there somewhere.
Exactly. So who knows, man? Like I said, like I'm excited. I'm just ready to see weekly television, to see how these storylines get built up on a weekly basis, because sometimes I think with just events once a month leading up to this, it takes away a little bit from the storyline aspect. Like too much time passes by.
Yeah. But then you don't want to do too much stuff, and then people get bored. Us wrestling fans are fickle, so.
Exactly. But, and that's the thing, too, is like people were like saying like, some of the complaints I saw was like saying like, oh, this isn't WWE, the production's off or whatever else. And I'm like, give it a minute, like they still got to like figure this out. Yeah,
everybody still needs to get used to the team of people they're working with, production wise, and the camera crew and all the stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about. But I mean, you just mentioned Fight for the Fallen.
Fight for the Fallen.
And that's going to be in 2 weeks. And something else that's going to start in 2 weeks that we're going to talk about next is the G1.
Well, the G1 doesn't start in 2 weeks. It starts in 1 week.
1 week. Right.
Yeah, it starts in 1 week. And the thing is, like, I'm really interested in also how they're going to balance some of the members. Like I said, for AEW, I mean, you have both Moxley and Jericho who are members of both rosters. So I'm really interested in how they balance that out, man. But I'm super excited about the G1. So let's talk a little bit about that, man, and talk about our predictions. All right, man, the G1 opening day this Saturday. As of this recording, by the time you hear it, the first day of the G1 still would not have happened. So we are going to give you some predictions, man, and I am super excited about the possibilities of all these dream matches. I mean, come this Saturday, man, which is the opening day in Dallas at the American Airlines Center, which I'm really interested to see how this turns out. I don't know if it's going to be a sellout, but I really hope it's a good turnout. You know, like I said, you have a stacked card. You know, you had, Roppongi 3K against the Guerrillas of Destiny, Shota Umino and Tomohiro Ishii against Jeff Cobb and Ren Narita, the Bullet Clubs, Chase Owens and Jay White against Goto and Yoshihashi, fuck you. But the thing that I'm really looking forward to is that you have 5 different tournament matches for the A block on opening day. You have Will Ospreay against Lance Archer, which I'm excited to see how that turns out. King of Darkness, Evil against Bad Luck Fale. Sonata against Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh, that's going to be good.
And then, of course, you have Kota Ibushi versus Kenta. Dream match right there. In my opinion, even though everyone prior to WWE, everybody knew Kenta as being one of the most vicious strikers in the game, Kota Ibushi is obviously no slouch. The guy is a former kickboxer himself. Even though people know him as being a high flyer, being having a lot of innovative offense, Kota Ibushi has some of the deadliest kicks as well. I predict that match itself is going to be just nothing but both of these guys just hitting each other with stiff kicks. It's basically not going to be a war of like flips and technical chain wrestling. I think it's a matter of who's going to hit harder and who has the will to survive that match. It's not going to be pretty, and I'm excited to see that.
Maybe it could be the best match of the night.
It might be even the best match of the night. And then, of course, headlining it is Okada against Tanahashi. Now, for some people might be tired of seeing that. I think for American fans, it'll be really interesting to see these two career-long rivals headline the first night of the G1 in Dallas. Because like I said, this is a match that Japanese audiences have seen live. Unless you've gone over there to Japan and have seen the plethora of matches that these two have had over the course of Wrestle Kingdoms and different events in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Mm-hmm. Finally, you and I will get to see Okada against Tanahashi. Now, granted, Tanahashi may not be in his prime. He might be in the twilight of his career, but he's as good once as he ever was, and I think he can still be able to hold his own. And it'll be interesting to see how he still fares up against Okada, who Okada is still on a hot streak as of late. Like I said, Okada is currently the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So let's see how this pans out in the opening day, because the fact is, if Tanahashi is able to make a pinfall against Okada, that is a guaranteed title shot before Wrestle Kingdom next year. Yeah. So I'm excited, and overall this card is just super strong. And the thing that I like about it, just based on the layout of it, it seems like a legitimate New Japan Pro Wrestling card. It isn't Ring of Honor featuring New Japan Pro Wrestling, or it isn't just a bunch of Ring of Honor guys, that are there that happen to wrestle New Japan sometimes, and that's it. Or just foreigners that wrestle for New Japan that also wrestle for Ring. They even have Young Lions on this show. They have, various different members of the roster up and down this card. Like the fact that Jay White is not a headlining, act on this card, it's believable. It's because, this right now, like I said, Jay White is in the B block, not in the A block. So he's currently in a tag match with Chase Owens against Goto and Hashi, which Goto has been gunning for Jay White yet again. And then, of course, we get to see, Liger, Robinson, and Yano against Bushi, Takagi, and Naito. And like I said, it's nice to see that for the booking, they're not trying to force everybody on this card, like MSG felt that way. The thing is, this feels like a legitimate New Japan Pro Wrestling show. So I'm excited to see how this night goes. Now, my personal opinion, and we're not going to even just talk about night one. Like if you want to talk about night one, I'd say Okada will go over against Tanahashi.
I want to see Tanahashi play his air guitar.
You want to see him play the guitar?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then of course, you got Kota Ibushi against Kenta. That could go either way. I have a feeling though that Kota Ibushi will go over. I have a feeling that he will, barely. And then with Sonata and Zack Sabre Jr., I think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to take it. And then of course between Evil and Bad Luck Fale, I think Evil will take it. Then between Ospreay and Lance Archer, you gotta let Ospreay continue his momentum going forward. I think Ospreay's going to get his ass handed to him, and Lance Archer's going to come close. Like I said, he is a Texan boy. You know, he is in hometown territory. But the fact is, I think Ospreay's going to go over.
So Ospreay, Evil, Sonata. No, wait, you say Sabre Jr., right?
Yeah, Sabre Jr.
Yeah, it's good choices.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing. Like the beauty about the G1 is that you truly do not know which direction all this will go into. You know, like it could go in any way, shape, or form. And I'm excited. So let me ask you, man, looking at A Block, what do you think is going to play out?
Let's see. You got Tanahashi, Ibushi, Okada, Ospreay, Evil, Sonata, Fale, Zack Sabre Jr., Archer, and Kenta. So from last time we talked, I think I was still going for Ibushi getting on top of this on Block A. And also for, I think I was mentioning Ospreay, Ibushi and Ospreay on this one, on top of A Block. What do you think?
I think it's going to come down to, I have a feeling it's going to, like I said, I go back and forth so much in my head about this, you know, but I think it's going to come down to Okada against Ospreay again. And Ospreay is going to finally, or you know what? No. See, like even as I'm reading it out loud, I'm like, holy shit, I'm wrong. No, not that. I think it's going to play out to where the final four, the top four, it's going to basically come down to Okada, Ospreay, Ibushi, and Tanahashi.
Yeah.
I think Tanahashi's going to fall short, so I think Ibushi's going to be one of the top guys in A Block. And then it's going to come down to Okada and Ibushi, and then Ibushi is going to pin Okada, but Ospreay is going to have a super strong showing. And I also think Kenta will also have a very strong showing in this tournament. And although it might not set him up for an IWGP heavyweight title, or excuse me, the heavyweight title, it might set him up maybe for the Intercontinental title. As well. And that's for the A Block. But then on the flip side, you have the B Block, which is Juice Robinson, Tomohiro Ishii, Toru Yano, Hiroki Goto, Jeff Cobb, Jon Moxley, Tetsuya Naito, Shingo Takagi, Jay White, and Taichi.
My favorite.
Like I said, he's grown he's grown on me. I think the last four that you're going to see when it comes down to it is Moxley, Naito, Takagi, and Jay White. I think it's going to come down to Takagi and Naito. I don't see Jon Moxley winning because of his obligations to AEW. He'll have a strong showing, but he's not going to win. I think Jay White is going to fall short because I don't necessarily see him headlining next year. Not yet, anyway.
Man, but you still have Ishii and Goto. These two guys that we said before is some guys that we definitely think they deserve being higher.
I completely agree. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
You know, because I would love to see Goto have a title run. Or, you know, maybe it can kind of put him in position for a U.S. title shot down the road. Who knows? Like I said, this tournament has a funny way of bringing out some of the best in people. Just like I said, in the New Japan Cup, I was really shocked to see Taichi have such an amazing match against Tomohiro Ishii. But he did, and it kind of won a lot of people over. Like, wow, Taichi can go. You know, even though he has in the past, but a lot of times he's just known for being a heel and being underhanded. So I don't know. This tournament might play out much differently, but I don't see Moxley winning. I think Moxley will have a very strong showing, but I don't think he's going to take it. I think it's going to come down to Naito and Takagi, and I think Naito will take it again. And then that leaves Naito against Ibushi.
Yeah.
Again. Possibly killing each other. And I think ultimately Naito was going to take it. Then again, I could be wrong. Like I said, my mind changes every 30 seconds looking at these brackets because these brackets are just jam-packed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's obvious people that you know are not going to take it. Like, we're obviously not going to see a Tokyo Dome headlining show featuring Toru Yano against Fale. You know, it's not going to happen. You know, even though I think Bad Luck Fale, you know, I hope he gets a better singles opportunities in the future if he puts himself there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What else do you think? Like, are you rethinking your choices right now? Or are you still? You're not. I'm not confident in my choices.
Yeah.
Like
Sonata. I want this guy to win too.
Yeah, because I feel like he's ready for that next level. Like, the thing is, I think he's ready for that next level, and I'm thinking logically, like what I think logically will happen. But if I'm gonna go with my heart, if I think, okay, these are the two fucking guys that are gonna go in to the finals, like if I just say fuck logic and I'm just going by what I want to see Ibushi against Moxley or Ospreay against Naito in the finals.
That'd be good too.
Yeah, but like I said, is that going to happen? I don't know, because I always try to think about things in like logic, like what are they going to do booking wise, you know? Like I said, I don't really think that I don't think that Evil is going to have, you know, a great G1 this year. I know he has done well in the G1 in the past. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I don't think Jeff Cobb is going to have a good showing this year. Obviously, Yano never fucking has a good showing, but he'll get these sneak wins. Like he'll find a way to kind of finagle a win. Like everyone remembers when he pinned Minoru Suzuki quickly, and of course Minoru Suzuki wanted to murder him and kept beating his ass for months and months on end, you know. And then of course I don't particularly see Lance Archer taking. I think Lance Archer is there to kind of maybe break the brackets a little bit for some people. Like he's gonna get some wins for sure, but I don't think he's gonna be the guy to win unless they have some weird wacky plans for Lance Archer, but I don't see it that way.
And they kind of threw a curveball because they put the two biggest guys on A block instead of putting Fale on B or Archer on B.
Exactly.
They're both on A block. So, man, I don't know who's going to get lucky and get all of them correct because it's too hard.
You know, and the cool thing is, too, is that New Japan actually put out a post, you know, saying that you can actually submit your brackets. You know, which I mean, that's this is kind of like March Madness in a way, you know. And the thing is, like, it's like, wow, like I get to pick this is like, you know, and one of 10 commemorative T-shirts and 19 commemorative towels could be yours. So it's like, all right, it's like, you know, you get like a cool towel and a cool T-shirt. You know, what would be even more awesome if they did the whole bracket thing and whoever fucking won got tickets to next year's Wrestle Kingdom or something.
Oh, yeah.
Then, you know, people would be like flooding this, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to try anyway, and, you know, because I definitely want like
It's who gets more right.
You know. And if you want to enter this contest on for New Japan, it's njpw1972.com. You can do it via Twitter. But I think that logically, I think Naito's going to take it.
Let's see. I know you're wrong, but let's see.
I'd like Ibushi. I like Ibushi to take it.
Yeah.
But I think Naito's going to do it.
Let's see.
We'll definitely have to wait and see. But on that note, man, I'm excited for this Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And let's see what else is going on around the world of wacky professional wrestling.
Las luchas?
Yes. Cool, man. And like I said, man, this is such a wonderful time to be a wrestling fan, and you cannot ignore the fact that, you know, promotions are popping up left and right, maybe some good, some not so good, but the wrestling economy, as it's been put, is thriving and booming. And one of the most exciting announcements has been how Alberto El Patron, Alberto Del Rio for some of you,
Alberto Del Rio,
he has officially announced that that July 11th in Mexico City, he is going to be the debut event for his promotion called Nacion Lucha Libre, which is going to feature, you know, some former WWE talent like Carlito. Alberto El Patron is on there. Thunder Rosa is going to be featured. What are some of the other talents that you saw on the flyer?
Yeah, I mean, all the lucha guys from everywhere around the lucha world are on there. One of my favorites, Tinieblas.
Yeah.
Had Dos Caras, I think, was in there. La Parca was in there. Man, so many people. I can't even think. I think MVP was on there.
MVP was on there as well.
What's Eddie Guerrero's
Chavo
Guerrero?
Chavo was also co-producing this as well. And you know, and the thing is, like, it's just what a time to be a wrestling fan. Like, there's ridiculous amounts of options. Dare I say, maybe even some oversaturation. That's my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like I said, the more places for people to work, the better it is for everyone in the long run. Which I'm super excited to see how this goes. I know that they said they promise health insurance for wrestlers down there. I don't know how that's going to work.
It's gonna be difficult.
That's a very bold statement. I mean, I know the healthcare system is a lot more friendly in Mexico. Like I said, I've had an easier time getting treated in Mexico than I have in the United States. But that's another topic for another podcast. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I'm just saying, you know, it is easier to get your stuff seen and cheaper than it is here in the United States. 100 times cheaper. We can talk about that another day if you really want to. If you're really interested in us talking about like medical premiums, because this isn't the show for that. But anyway, that's the thing that he's promising. And the lineup itself seems really interesting and fun. But we'll have to see how this first thing, you know, pops off and see how it goes.
Hopefully it goes good for them. Another lucha platform.
And then, of course, on another bit of news this week. Speaking of Mexico, Triple Mania is happening in the very, very near future in August. And of course, some of the matches are already being announced and built up. But one of the big matches is, of course, Cody teaming up with Psycho Clown and UFC legend Cain Velasquez.
It's a little random.
It's a little random, but I mean, there's always been rumblings for the past 2 years that Cain Velasquez was interested in becoming a professional wrestler. Clearly, his MMA career has been done. Cain Velasquez has done it all in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He was a savage. He was a beast. But the fact that he's choosing a lucha style promotion to start his wrestling career, it's interesting. And I mean, I know lucha libre nowadays isn't as pure as it used to be. Nowadays you have a lot of guys with foreign styles coming into the promotion. Yeah. But at the end of the day, even if you're a guy like Cody or you're a guy like Brian Cage or all these different types of Americans that come to Mexico and wrestle their style, you still have to learn the lucha style in order to kind of blend and kind of work with these guys, because things are done a little differently in Mexico, as things are done differently in Japan as well. You learn different styles and kind of incorporate it into your own. I'm just really interested to see how Cain Velasquez is going to adapt, because like I said, he is a rookie. He's brand new. Is he going to be more of a submission ground-based guy? Are you going to see this guy doing tope con hilos and bouncing off the ropes?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm really interested. And of course, they're facing off against Tejano Jr., Toros, and of course the surprise partner. Wonder who that surprise partner might be. Maybe it'll be Chuck Liddell, the Iceman Chuck Liddell.
That would be a good matchup.
That'd be strange.
Yeah,
super strange. I don't know, but it's and also on that matchup as well is going to be a rematch of Laredo Kid and the Lucha Brothers against the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Bucks. So Triple Mania is looking to kind of build off of that working relationship with AEW to feature foreign talent. Which it's good to see. It's good to see that everybody can collaborate. That unlike the WWE, people their things are not so exclusive and tight knit. It's like, what, everybody's going to help each other out. It's always good to see that. Keep the community going. And then up next, another story around the pro wrestling world. Battle of Los Angeles, dude. It's around the corner.
What?
PWG's Battle of Los Angeles has always been an awesome tournament as well. Usually takes place over 2 to 3 days.
Yeah. Did we say we're going to go to that sometime? Next year?
Yeah, one day. One day we'll have to go. But they have already announced that their first participant is a man by the name of A-Led, who's wrestled all throughout Europe. Bit of a technical wrestler. And I'm excited to see who else is going to be featured, man. I mean, I know that Walter, I don't think he's able to wrestle for PWG anymore. I know Jeff Cobb is their current champion, so we'll probably see Jeff Cobb, A-Led, maybe Janela. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what kind of a Sammy Callahan, which I'm excited to see what the possibilities of Battle of Los Angeles. Battle of Los Angeles, like I said, has always been a good jumping off point for a lot of different people's careers. I mean, Ricochet being, of course, a guy who has won the Battle of Los Angeles, Adam Cole, Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, and so on and so forth. So keep an eye out throughout, for at PWG to see any further announcements for the Battle of Los Angeles. And although you can't watch it on pay-per-view, once the DVD is out, go buy it. Go support that company, because PWG has always had some fun shows.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Always had some fun shows. Last year's was amazing, and it featured the tournament main event of Jeff Cobb against Bandito and against Shingo Takagi, this is right when Shingo was about getting ready to be done with Dragon Gate at the time. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see the possibilities of what the Battle of Los Angeles might hold for us in the very near future.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome, man. And I mean, like I said, and last but not least, one little final story is that Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, the co-partner of AEW, has in fact decided that they're going to expand into the UK. They're going to be holding events in the United Kingdom, and they have already started to kind of recruit British wrestlers to come wrestle in China, which is fascinating. It's like, wow. It's like, I know OWE is starting to kind of have a stronghold in China as the premier wrestling promotion in China, but the fact that they're moving their way into the UK, it's almost like there's a bit of a civil war in UK with wrestling promotions. It's like, you have the NXT UK thing that has taken away a lot of talent. Progress, which is currently in the process of rebuilding their talent pool, and of course a lot of different smaller promotions that are cultivating their own talent. And now you have an outside promotion coming in trying to get other British wrestlers to work. Now, granted, they'll probably have a partnership with another British promotion, but it's really awesome.
Everybody's going over there. Even New Japan is in there sometime this pretty soon.
Absolutely, at the Royal Quest event happening. Yeah. So I'm really excited to see how things pan out with OWE expanding. I'm looking forward to seeing other talent from OWE being featured in AEW in the future, and the fact that you're going to see British talent kind of going back and forth to China as well. Worth checking out. Support pro wrestling. And on that note, man, do you got anything else, man?
That's it for me.
That's it, man. Like I said, before we head out, man, don't tell me, tell them. Where can they find us?
Find us everywhere, man. Just Google us, just Tiger Driver Radio. On Facebook, we are on Tiger Driver Radio. Instagram on Tiger Driver Radio. On Twitter on Tiger Driver Rad 1. And you can email us at tigerdriverradio@gmail.com.
Absolutely, kids. And on that note, enjoy pro wrestling. If you want, let us know what some of your predictions are for the G1. Let us know what you guys think about AEW's Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen. Just talk about wrestling. And more importantly, enjoy pro wrestling. Until then, kids, peace.
Adios.